Hello, this is Miss B. I am out today, so I would like you to have your math notebook and a pencil out, and it would probably be helpful to have a multiplication chart as well. And everything that I write down, I would like you to be writing in your notebook as though we were doing this lesson and I was there with you. Okay, so what is the greatest common factor of 12 and 16? So we need to list all the factors for 12 and then all the factors for 16. So this is one way to do it. So for 12, I know that 1 times 12 equals 12. And then I think, does 2 go into 12? Yes, it goes in there 6 times. Does 3 go into 12? Yep. 3 goes in there 4 times. And then does 5 go into 12 evenly? Nope. So there is my list for all the factors of 12. Now let's do the same thing for 16. So 1 times 16. Does 2 go into 16? Yes, because it's an even number. 8 times. Does 3 go into 16? Nope. Does 4? Yep, 4 times 4. And I don't need to put both 4s on there because it's just 4 as a factor. So now we have the list of factors for 12. We have the list of factors for 16. What is the largest number that is in both lists? And what I'm seeing is that it is 4. So the greatest common factor, or GCF, that's how we abbreviate it, is 4. Then the next one says, what is the least common multiple for 4 and 18? So when you're doing multiples, that's when you're skip counting. So you can use your multiplication chart for this, but I'm going to start with the biggest number, because when you're skip counting, you can literally skip count for the rest of your life, right? Like it keeps going. So you can look at your multiplication chart, and if you're looking in the 18 row, you have 18, 36, 54, 72, and then I'd probably stop here, and then I'd start listing my multiples for 4 and see if I find anything on that list. If I do, I can stop. If not, I would have to keep going with my 18s. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36. Finally got one that matched. So that is the least, or the smallest number they share. So least common multiple, or LCM, is 36. Okay, so we have talked about this before. So what is a prime number? It is a number with only 2 factors, 1 and itself. So we want to, you can use your your multiplication chart again if you need to, but we're going to list out the first 10 prime numbers, and these you might want to, just put something like prime number list and then list these out, because these are good numbers to know. So 1 is not actually a prime number, because a prime number has 2 factors, and the number 1 only has 1 factor, and that would be 1. So 2 is a prime number, and I'm going to give you a little hint. 2 is the only even number that is prime, because it only has 2 times 1. And then 3 is prime. 4 is not, 5 is, 6 is not, 7 is, 8 is not, 9, now even though 9 is an odd number, it is not prime because you can also do 3 times 3. So 9 doesn't work, 10 doesn't work, but 11 does, 12 does not, 13 does, because it's only 13 times 1, 14 no, 15 no, 16 no, 17 yes. So how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 more. So 18 is not prime, but 19 is. 20 is not. 21 is not, because remember we can do 7 times 3. 22 is not, but 23 is. So that would be your list of the first 10 prime numbers. Okay, so now, and that list you're going to use when you're doing the prime factorization today, because we want to get our numbers all down to prime. So we need to know what is prime and what is not. So Tatiana was writing 200 as a product of prime numbers. She shared with her team the beginning of her work, which is shown below. So she started with the number 200, and then she broke it down to 4 times 50. And then the number 4, she broke down to 2 times 2, and then she circled it, or she put a square. I usually do circles. And she broke the 50 down into a 5 times 10. Now she put a square around the 5, but not the 10, and she broke the 10 down into a 5 times 2 and put squares around those. So one, we want to notice that Tatiana used a dot to represent multiplication. This is a way to show multiplication without using an X. Try to use this method now so that when you learn algebra, you're not confused about the use of the letter X versus the multiplication symbol X. And now we want to think, what process do you think was going through Tatiana's mind when she wrote 200 as a product of her prime factors? So she has all these circles here. I'm going to make them circles because that's what we're going to do in the future. And all of the numbers that she has circled or squared, those are prime. 2 is a prime number, and so is 5. And then at the bottom, she took all of those numbers and she multiplied them together. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 times 5 is 100. And 100 times 2 is 200. So once she got the number 200 all down to prime factors, if you multiply those together, you get your starting number. Then it says down here, it says, do you think it matters what products Tatiana wrote in her second step? What if she wrote 10 times 20 instead? So her second step was 4 times 50. They said let's see what happens if she used 10 times 20. So let's do a 200. So write this with me in your notebook. And then they want us to use 10 times 20. And we're going to practice using the dot. All right, is 10 a prime number? Nope. So we can break that down into a 2 times 5. Now, let's see. 2 is prime, circle it. 5 is prime, circle it. Then we'll go to the 20. We can do 2 times 10. We know that 2 is prime, but 10 is not. So we can break that down even more to a 2 times 5 again. 2 is prime, 5 is prime. All right. So we've got 2 times 5 times 2 times 2 times 5 equals 200. Now let's just check that. So 2 times 5 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 20 times 2 is 40, and 40 times 5 does equal 200. So it doesn't matter what numbers you multiply together to get the number, as long as they're accurate. So there are a lot of numbers that you could use right here to make 200. So obviously you won't be doing this as a team. So just by yourself, what I want you to do is break these both down and do the prime factor. So you can use your multiplication chart. You find 2 numbers that make 36 and and get it all down to circled prime numbers. Do the same thing for 600. So go ahead, pause the video right now until you're done with that part and come back to me. Okay, so hopefully you did that work. And I'm going to do 6 times 6. It's okay if you did 9 times 4 or something different. We're going to still get the same answer in the end. And then 2 times 3 makes 6. 2 is prime, 3 is prime. And this 6, we have to do the same thing. 2 times 3, both prime. So I got all my prime numbers. Now I'm going to move over to the 600. I'm going to do 100 times 6. And let's see. For my 100, I'm going to do 50 times 2. And I know 2 is prime. For the 50, I'm going to do 25 times 2. 2 is prime. For 25, I'm going to do 5 times 5. Both of those are prime. Then I can't forget that 6 up there. We can't stop until all our numbers are prime and circled. So the 6 will get a 2 times 3. Both of those are prime. All right, now down here, I didn't have you do this. Maybe some of you tried, and that's terrific. It says, how can we write this in exponential form? So for the 36, what we would do is you take the smallest circled number, and that's a 2. And then we count how many we have. 1, 2. So then we do 2 to the power of 2 times the next smallest number, circled number is a 3. We count how many we have. 1, 2 to the power of 2 equals 36. So instead of writing out 2 times 3 times 2 times 3, we are going to use our powers, or our exponents. Now let's go over to 600. All right, our smallest circled number is a 2. Let's count how many we have. 1, 2, 3. So 2 to the power of 3 times the next smallest is a 3. We only have one of those, so we don't need an exponent for it. And then we have 5, and we have 2 of those. Equals 600. Okay, in your notebook, I would like you to find the prime factorization for 100. And then when you're done, I want you to practice writing it in exponential form. So pause your video, do that, and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you did that. And for mine, I am going to do 4 times 25. And for 4, 2 times 2, prime, prime. And for 25, I'm going to do 5 times 5, prime, prime. Then I'm going to take the smallest number, which is a 2. There are 2 of them, times the next smallest number, which there are 2 of them. And I'm done. Okay, when you get to this point in the video, you can get the homework sheet from the sub. I hope you have a good day, and please be kind and respectful to the sub. See you tomorrow.